No one told her it would feel like this at 83. She had outlived friends. Her children were busy. The silence in her home was louder than any clock. And what hurt most? She still had so much love to give, but no one to receive it. She didn't feel sick. She wasn't in pain. But each morning felt a little heavier. She'd sit by the window with her cup of tea, watching the world go by, without her. The mailman came and went. The neighbors waved. But the house remained still. Too still. There were no more school runs. No packed lunches. No dinners to prepare for a family gathered around the table. Now, the memories lived where the laughter used to. And the hardest part? No one ever warned her that aging could feel like vanishing. She used to be needed. She used to be seen. Now, she felt like a ghost inside her own life. She wasn't asking for much, just conversation, warmth, a reason to get dressed in the morning. But instead, she got days filled with silence. And nights that felt even longer. If you're over 80, or love someone who is, this video is for you. Because the loneliness that so often comes with age isn't weakness. It's the result of a society that stops checking in. But that ends here. Because you matter. Your story isn't over. Welcome to Better Aging Advice. Here, we speak the truths that most people are afraid to admit, because you deserve more than cliches and empty promises. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. Hit like if you believe aging should be a time of deeper connection, not quiet suffering. And subscribe, because the second half of life should be the most human part. What surprised you most about aging after 80? Drop one word in the comments. Someone out there might need to hear it today. Meet Hilda. She's 83. A retired nurse from Des Moines. Widowed for 9 years. She spent her life caring for others, on the hospital floor, in her home, at her church. She was the one people called in emergencies, the one who remembered birthdays, the one who held her husband's hand through his final breath. When she retired, she pictured something different. Quiet mornings filled with sunlight. Phone calls from the grandkids. A garden full of tomatoes. She imagined book clubs, bridge nights, Sunday dinners. But what actually came? Silence. The phone stopped ringing. The invitation slowed, then stopped. Even her kids, good kids, kind kids, were so busy juggling their own families that weeks could pass without a word. She didn't blame them. She just didn't expect to feel so invisible. The loneliness wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Lingering. The kind that hides in plain sight. A morning cup of tea with no one to talk to. A meal prepared for one. A laugh with no one to share it. She still smiled when people visited. Still said I'm fine when asked. But inside, she was shrinking. Not because of age, but because connection had disappeared. And then one day, sitting in her favorite chair, she asked herself the question she had been avoiding. What if this isn't how it's supposed to be? What if there's still more for me? That single moment, facing the truth instead of hiding from it, was the shift. Not a miracle. Not a grand transformation. Just the beginning of reclaiming her voice. Because acknowledging loneliness isn't weakness, it's bravery. It's how we begin again. And for Hilda, that moment was the start of everything. If you've ever felt what Hilda felt, you're not alone. And you're not meant to stay in that place. Keep watching, because the next 60 seconds might open a new door in your life, too. Reality number 1, loneliness is physical. Loneliness isn't just a feeling you experience in your heart or mind. It's a powerful force that can reach deep into your body and affect your health in ways you might never expect. For many seniors like Hilda, loneliness isn't just an emotional shadow hanging over their days, it's a biological storm brewing beneath the surface. Scientific research has uncovered something startling. Loneliness triggers your body's stress response, flooding it with hormones like cortisol. These stress hormones don't just make you feel anxious or sad, they actively weaken your immune system. That means your body becomes less able to fight off even common illnesses, like colds or the flu. For seniors, who may already have a weaker immune system, this effect can be even more serious. Hilda noticed these changes in her own body. At first, it was a cold that just wouldn't go away like it used to. Then came restless nights. She found herself waking up tired, her mind foggy and unfocused during the day. She tossed and turned, staring at the ceiling, feeling a heaviness that didn't seem to lift. Her body was sending her a message. Loneliness wasn't just in her head, it was manifesting as aches, fatigue, and disrupted sleep. Research also links chronic loneliness to a higher risk of serious health issues, including heart disease, stroke, and even early mortality. Why? Because the constant flood of stress hormones keeps your heart working overtime, raises your blood pressure, and traps your body in a prolonged fight or flight state. This constant stress wears down your organs and leaves you vulnerable. But here's the important truth: loneliness is powerful, but it's also something you can fight back against. Simple, consistent steps can reset your body's stress response. Small changes in your daily habits, like connecting regularly with others, spending time outside in nature, or practicing mindful breathing exercises, can lower stress hormones and help rebuild your immune resilience. These actions are like little repairs to your body's system, slowly restoring balance. For Hilda, understanding that loneliness was affecting her health motivated her to take action, even when reaching out felt difficult. She started by making small phone calls to old friends she hadn't spoken to in years. She joined a local seniors group where she could meet others who understood her experience. And she began taking daily walks in the park, feeling the fresh air and sunlight on her skin, which lifted her spirits and helped clear her mind. The changes didn't happen overnight. But gradually, Hilda noticed her colds stopped lingering so long. Her sleep improved, and the fog in her mind began to lift. She felt more energy and a sense of hope that she hadn't felt in years. If you're feeling the physical weight of loneliness, those aches, the fatigue, the restless nights, know this: you're not imagining it. It's not a sign of weakness or something to be ashamed of. It's your body's way of asking for care and connection. What's one small step you can take today to help your body fight back against loneliness? Maybe it's reaching out to a neighbor, joining a community group, or simply stepping outside for a short walk. Share your thoughts below. Your experience might be exactly the encouragement someone else needs to make their first move toward healing. Because together, we can break the silence and reclaim health, hope, and connection at any age. Reality number 2, family won't always be there. Hilda's daughter lives 3 states away, caught up in the whirlwind of her own life, work deadlines, her children's schedules, and everyday demands that pull her attention in 100 directions. Her grandson is busy with college, barely able to find time to text back, let alone visit. It's not neglect. It's not cruelty. It's just the reality of life today. Families grow and spread out more than ever before. Jobs, kids, extracurriculars, and commitments create miles, not just physical but emotional distance too. For many seniors like Hilda, this means that those they love most are often unavailable in the ways they need. At first, Hilda expected her family to fill every empty moment, every lonely afternoon. She hoped for calls, visits, texts, signs that she still mattered and was remembered. But as days and weeks passed, that hope was met with disappointment time and again. The phone stayed silent, plans were postponed, and the feeling of being overlooked deepened. It was painful, but Hilda realized a difficult truth: love for family doesn't always mean they can be the ones who catch you when you fall or fill the spaces left by loneliness. Her family loved her in their way, but they were caught in their own lives. That realization hurt deeply, but it also brought freedom. Because once she let go of the idea that family must be her only support, she began to see something new and empowering: the power to build her own village. Her own circle of friends, neighbors, fellow seniors, even casual acquaintances, people who chose to be there, who valued her company, who showed up with kindness and consistency. This village wasn't built by blood but by choice and mutual care. Hilda started small. She began attending events at her local community center, where she met others who understood her experiences. She joined a book club that met every week, sharing stories and laughter with new friends. Volunteering at the food pantry connected her with people from all walks of life who appreciated her generosity and presence. Little by little, those connections grew. People who didn't share her last name became her family in a very real and heartfelt way. Birthdays were celebrated together, phone calls were exchanged, and regular meetups became a cherished part of her week. This isn't about replacing your loved ones, it's about expanding your support system so you never feel truly alone. It's about recognizing that family is just one piece of your life's network, not the whole foundation. And here's something important: building your village takes courage. It means reaching out even when you'd rather stay silent. Showing up when it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Being open to new kinds of relationships, even if they don't fit the mold of your past friendships. For Hilda, those first steps were scary. But she discovered something beautiful: most people want connection just as much as she did. They are waiting for someone to say hello, to share a smile, to offer a hand. You don't have to wait for family to call or show up to feel supported. You have the power to create meaningful, nurturing relationships wherever you are. What's one way you've built your own village or found connection outside your family? If you've ever felt forgotten, even by those you love, say yes or no in the comments. We read every one because your experience matters. Remember, the strongest villages are made of many kinds of love. And that truth can change everything. Reality number 3, friendships fade faster after 80. At Hilda's age, funerals had sadly become more common than birthday parties. Each loss felt like another page closing in a book filled with shared memories, laughter, and years of companionship. The faces she had known for decades were slowly disappearing, some taken by illness, others moving far away, and some just fading from her life without explanation. Those friends who once called every week stopped reaching out. Calls went unanswered, texts left unread, invitations unreturned. Some were battling their own health struggles, others had passed on, and then there were the ones who simply drifted away. It wasn't personal, but the silence was deeply painful. Because losing friends isn't just about losing company, it's about losing pieces of your past, your shared history, your trusted support network. For Hilda, the hardest part wasn't just saying goodbye to familiar faces. It was the daunting reality of trying to make new friends when almost no one wanted to admit they were lonely too. At 83, the idea of starting fresh can feel overwhelming. Years of habits and social patterns have settled, and the fear of rejection or embarrassment can hold anyone back. Many seniors worry about becoming a burden or being seen as needy. They hesitate to reach out, waiting for someone else to take the first step, creating a silent cycle of loneliness that's difficult to break. But here's the truth: loneliness is more common among seniors than many admit, and reaching out takes courage but can transform lives. Hilda learned that friendships at this age don't always look like the ones we remember from youth. They often begin with a simple smile in the grocery aisle or a brief hello at a community event. Sometimes, just being honest about feeling lonely invites others to open up as well. This honesty builds bridges, creating new connections that are genuine, supportive, and meaningful. One of the most powerful ways Hilda found to combat loneliness was by getting involved in groups designed for seniors. Local senior centers, hobby clubs, church gatherings, and volunteer opportunities became more than just activities, they became fertile ground for friendships to bloom. Technology also became a helpful tool. Video calls with distant family members, joining social media groups for seniors, or even using simple texting apps helped her stay connected when face-to-face meetings weren't possible. It wasn't about the platform, it was about the effort to connect regularly, even in small ways. Consistency matters. Even brief, frequent efforts to reach out or respond to others can make a huge difference over time. If you're struggling with fading friendships or the fear of reaching out, remember you are not alone. Countless seniors share your feelings and want connection just as much as you do. What's one small way you've found to build new connections? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the light someone else needs today. Friendships may change after 80, but they don't have to end. With courage, kindness, and openness, new bonds can form, sometimes when you least expect them, and bring warmth and meaning back into your life. Reality number 4, independence can become isolation. Hilda was proud of her independence. After decades of raising a family, working as a nurse, and managing a household, she had earned every bit of her ability to live alone and take care of herself. To her, living independently wasn't just a lifestyle, it was a symbol of strength, resilience, and dignity. She cherished the freedom to make her own decisions, set her own schedule, and manage daily tasks without needing to rely on others. Being able to handle things on her own was something she took pride in, especially as she aged. But as time passed, Hilda began to notice a subtle shift in her life. The phone calls from family and friends became fewer and farther between. The neighbors who used to stop by for a quick chat were no longer around. No one checked on her anymore. No one asked if she had eaten or how her day was going. The silence in her home grew louder and heavier. At first, Hilda brushed it off. She told herself she was fine, that she didn't need anyone to check in on her. After all, she was used to managing on her own. But the truth was harder to admit: that proud independence she once celebrated was starting to feel like invisibility. Living alone meant that her struggles often went unnoticed. If she was having a bad day, there was no one there to comfort her. If she missed a meal or felt unwell, there was no one to notice or offer help. Her small joys had no one to share them with. One evening, after skipping lunch and feeling unusually tired, Hilda sat quietly in her living room and realized something important. Real strength isn't about doing everything alone. Real strength is knowing when to ask for help. It's having the courage to reach out for company before a lonely moment turns into an emergency. For many seniors, the line between independence and isolation is thin, and easy to cross without realizing it. It's a path Hilda had unknowingly walked for months. But here's the hopeful truth: independence and connection aren't opposites. They can coexist beautifully when you embrace both. Hilda started small. She called a neighbor just to say hello. She asked her daughter to schedule a weekly phone chat. She joined a local community group for seniors. She found that these little moments of connection didn't diminish her independence. Instead, they enriched her life and gave her a renewed sense of belonging. Technology also became a lifeline. Video calls with family, messaging apps, and online social groups allowed her to stay connected even when physical visits weren't possible. Most importantly, Hilda learned that asking for company isn't a sign of weakness, it's a powerful act of self-care. If you're proud of your independence but sometimes feel the weight of loneliness, know you're not alone. Consider these steps. Set a daily reminder to reach out to someone, a friend, family member, or neighbor. Invite someone over for a cup of tea or a walk in the park. Join a local group or class that interests you to meet new people. Use technology to connect when face-to-face isn't an option. Most importantly, don't wait until you feel invisible or overwhelmed to ask for company. What's one way you've balanced your independence with staying connected? Share your story in the comments. Your courage to reach out might just inspire someone else to do the same. Remember, independence is valuable, and so is letting others in. Because no one should have to face aging alone. Reality number 5, most people don't understand. Until they're here. At 83, Hilda reached a moment that changed everything. For many years, she had kept up appearances. When friends, family, or neighbors asked how she was doing, she would answer with the familiar phrase, "I'm fine." Even when inside, she felt tired, lonely, or overwhelmed, she hid those feelings behind polite smiles and reassurances. Hilda worried that sharing her true feelings would make her seem weak or burden those she cared about. She believed she needed to be strong, to handle things on her own, as she had for so many years. But after months of quiet struggle, one day she stopped pretending. Instead of brushing off her feelings, she spoke honestly about how hard it was to feel so alone. She admitted that some days were really tough, and that she longed for more connection and understanding. That moment of truth was powerful. Because as soon as Hilda opened up, she found others who felt the same way, people who had been quietly facing loneliness, just like her. At the local library, she discovered a group of seniors who met regularly to share stories, laughs, and support. These new friends understood what she was going through without needing explanations or excuses. At the senior center, she signed up for classes and social events, where familiar faces became real friendships. Conversations flowed naturally because everyone there had lived similar experiences. Even in an online painting class, where she was initially hesitant, Hilda found a community of kindred spirits. Virtual strangers became friends as they connected over their art, shared challenges, and offered encouragement. She realized she was not alone. Thousands of seniors, just like Hilda, are quietly struggling with loneliness. They are craving connection but waiting for someone to say "me too." The reality is that most people don't truly understand what loneliness feels like until they experience it themselves. Loneliness after 80 is more than just an emotional feeling, it impacts the mind, body, and spirit. It can lead to health problems, anxiety, and a sense of invisibility in the world. Yet, because it's often hidden behind polite smiles and the words "I'm fine," it remains invisible to many. By choosing to speak honestly about loneliness, seniors can break through the silence. They can build real, meaningful connections that enrich their lives and bring back a sense of belonging. If you're over 80, or care for someone who is, remember this: vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a bridge to understanding and community. Hilda's journey teaches us valuable lessons. 1. Speak your truth. Sharing your feelings, even if it feels uncomfortable, opens the door to deeper connection. 2. Seek out community. Look for groups, clubs, or classes that bring seniors together around shared interests and experiences. 3. Embrace technology. Use online platforms to connect with others when physical visits aren't possible. 4. Be patient. Building genuine friendships and support takes time, but every small step makes a difference. What's one thing you wish people truly understood about loneliness after 80? Drop your truth in the comments below. Your words might help someone else feel seen, heard, and less alone. Because empathy, the willingness to truly understand another's experience, is one of the greatest gifts we can offer at any age. And the second half of life deserves to be lived not in isolation, but in connection, joy, and meaning. Hilda didn't get younger, her wrinkles deepened, her steps slowed, but something else changed inside her. She grew braver. She stopped waiting for connection to come knocking and decided to create it herself. It began with a simple invitation. One afternoon, she invited her neighbor, Mary, over for tea. It wasn't a grand gesture, just 2 cups of chamomile and a shared laugh over stories of days gone by. That moment shattered years of silence in Hilda's life. She realized that reaching out didn't have to be overwhelming. It could start with something small, something natural. Encouraged, Hilda joined a small walking group organized by her local community center. At first, she was nervous, unsure if she'd fit in or be accepted. But each step taken alongside others like her was a step away from isolation. The group wasn't just about exercise, it was about companionship, shared experiences, and mutual support. With every walk, Hilda's world expanded a little more. Inspired by these new connections, she reached back into the past, dusting off old memories by mailing handwritten letters to old friends she hadn't spoken to in years. These letters weren't just words on paper, they were bridges, rekindling friendships and reminding Hilda that even when life pulls people apart, the heart remembers. The joy she felt in hearing back from those friends was a powerful reminder that she was still deeply loved, still part of a larger story. Hilda stopped waiting for the phone to ring. Instead, she made it ring. She understood that the power to break loneliness was in her hands. Sometimes a simple hello, a kind gesture, or a moment of vulnerability could open doors she thought were closed forever. Her courage wasn't about grand changes overnight. It was about daily choices, to show up, to reach out, to be seen. Those choices led to deeper conversations, laughter, and even tears shared with new and old friends alike. Hilda found that by leaning into discomfort, she was building a life that felt fuller, richer, and more connected. This turning point wasn't about erasing loneliness entirely, it was about reclaiming her life despite it. Hilda embraced the reality that aging brings challenges, but also new opportunities to rewrite her story with bravery and hope. If you've ever felt stuck in loneliness, what small step could you take today to turn things around? Maybe it's inviting someone for tea, joining a local club, or simply sending a letter or message to an old friend. Share your plans or experiences in the comments. Your story might be the courage someone else needs to take their first step. Because the second half of life is not just about what we've lost, it's about what we still have the power to create. Loneliness is real. It's something many seniors face quietly, but it doesn't have to be permanent. No matter if you're 60, 80, or beyond, the chance to connect, to be seen and heard, is always there, sometimes just one step away. If this video spoke to you, hit that like button. It's more than a click, it's a way to show others they're not alone. Every like helps bring this important conversation to more people who might be struggling in silence. Drop a name in the comments, someone you plan to reach out to this week. Naming that person is a powerful promise to yourself and a reminder that connection starts with action. Plus, your comment could inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple of kindness and courage in our community. And subscribe to Better Aging Advice for more honest, no fluff talks about the real challenges and joys of aging. Here, we break the silence around loneliness and give you practical, heartfelt advice to live your best life after 80. Because after 80, you deserve more than quiet days and empty rooms. You deserve to feel alive, connected, and truly seen. Together, let's build a community where no one has to face aging alone.